When did I get old? How did that happen? When did that stoop creep in? Hair start sprouting from my ears. My elbows with wrinkled skin. How did that come to pass? Even my wife chips in. You've got a scraggy arse. There is one question I cannot escape. Who wrapped me up in crepe? When did I start mumbling, not able to hear, and the thought of bending over fill me with fear, frightening the Furies with farts at 4 a.m. enough to wake the dead? I must be careful as I go. The steps in my garden are my Kilimanjaro. Peering through dim eyes at that face in the glass, my grandfather stares back. You're on your own now, Jack. Well, let me tell you, my friend, this is not the end. I am what I am. This is me now, the real deal. I'm not passing the buck, and if you don't like it, you're out of luck. That poem did have an expletive at the end, but I think it's better without the expletive, isn't it? Thank you. I thought I'd open with that poem because it reminds me of the setbacks of old age, but as Mark Twain said, the cure is far worse. I'm also reminded that some 20 years ago now, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And I'm firmly of the belief that the research group I joined, led by Jenny Donovan and Freddie Handy, saved my life. So when people say, is the money that we spend on research, £1 billion in the UK, is that worth it? I say, yes, it's worth it. If it weren't for that money, I'd be dead now. This book, Body Beautiful, recounts my experience of being diagnosed with prostate cancer. And it just takes you through the uncertainties, the fears, the process, the cynicism that I felt at times. But my first poem is about bad things can happen to people all the time out of the blue. And it's called My Recurring Nightmare is Trigonometry. Once again, I'm sitting at a small desk, the single unblinking eye of a blank inkwell, old wood as hard and cratered as polished stone. My pens and pencils are rubber, set square, are marshaled like troops deployed to the wrong front. The examination paper is virgin snow, tracked only by wild animals. An invigilator patrols the varnished straits, the breath of his gown on my cheek, heels clicking out of time with a clock whose ornate hands do not move. Exam panic grips my throat, sweats my hand. Why am I doing the trigonometry paper? I own my house, car. My children are gone. I run my business. My marriage, hopefully, is secure. But still, the trigonometry paper demands a question. Well, the question that was set me for this particular paper was prostate cancer. That was the trigonometry question that I had to answer. In 2003, I joined a research project which was centered in Bristol but extended from Newcastle to Cardiff. A friend of mine had been seconded into the project, and I was jealous of him, and I thought, I should be doing that, and then I got the call, and I became part of that research project. He turned out to be okay, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So this is my first encounter with Sister Vivienne, who was my link through the process. Sister Vivienne, researcher, shows me the medical illustration. It's as foreign as a map of Glasgow or Leeds. She tests my knowledge. I know all this, but not now. This isn't my city. I'm lost. She tells me how difficult diagnosis is, how imponderable treatment. There are forms to sign, questionnaires to complete, consents and blood to be given. Do I understand? Will I participate? We sit together alone in the disused hospital, CRI it was. This was once the A&E department. I came here with my children. Their cuts and broken bones were tended in a cubicle such as this. I remember a nurse. His name was Mal. I puzzle over this theme park. Bladder like a boating lake. The sweeping cycle path of the urethra. The country lane of the rectum. The racetrack of the penis. The car park of the prostate. Like all car parks, it's hard to get to. For a moment, I am glad that these things are foreign to me, that I'm not an expert, that all this is unexplored territory. When I am chemo-whacked and zapped by x-rays, I will know these byways like the IV stabbed back of my hand. Will have conducted guided tours, allowed visitors, memorabilia and takeaways. Then my grey-skinned face will nod the answers to her questions. We progress. The digital rectal examination is an interesting process. This is called the lie of the land. I'm not like these old men in the waiting room with dyed hair, white hair, worried look in their eyes. I'm tanned, lean, fitter than I've been for a long while. Ah, says Sister Vivienne, this cancer sneaks up on you. You can be feeling good until the day you die. On the other hand, the consultant has his up my rectum. He's checking the lie of the land. My journey into the world of prostate cancer continues. It's called Scribbles. As it's a randomized trial, if it's concluded that you do have prostate cancer, you're subject to a random selection for the treatment, which was then watchful waiting and is now being relabeled as active surveillance, radiotherapy, or surgery. This is my first encounter with that process. It's called Scribbles. I tell her to spin the wheel, or in this case, phone a computer in Bristol. I got three choices: surgery, watchful waiting, x-rays. There's a pause. Our eyes meet, and I think, I detect sympathy. Then she looks to her notepad, scribbles a flower. It's only her job, after all. I hear connections being made. The line of her lips tightens. I look closer at her notepad. It's not a flower, but a lucky four-leaf clover. So then you actually get to the point where you have to decide. And As I said, when you're diagnosed with a serious illness, a certain amount of resentment creeps in. And this is called cut, keep, or cook. They don't know what to do about prostate cancer, so they leave it to you to come up with the answer. There's a computer or phone book that will randomly choose whether to cut, keep, or cook. Heads they win, tails you lose. So we're on the journey into hospital. And your first day in hospital, of course, the consultant conducts his tour of the ward, and you're introduced. I'd been introduced to Mr. Kynaston, who was Britain's preeminent surgeon in prostate cancer. So I felt very safe in his hands, and he led his retinue round the ward. And this is my encounter with him in hospital. He having previously had his hand up my rectum, of course, so I did know him quite intimately by this time. The consultant arrives with his retinue, Registrar Mr. Brown, staff nurse Jane, others whose functions are not clear. He tells me prostate, lymph glands, seminal vessel, left side nerve bundle, all to be removed. He says, I've got a Gleason score of 7. Is that bad? I query. It's worse than 6, he replies. The retinue stares, no sympathy, just the thrill of the chase. When I complain, this picture on the cover of this book is my abdomen after the surgery. And when I complained to Mr. Kynaston that he hadn't made a very tidy job of it, he said that was Mr. Brown's job to sew you up after the procedure. So Mr. Brown got the stick for that one. While you're waiting for surgery, your surgery is the next day, and they give you a very strong laxative the night before. And this is called pole-axed. Even the registrar speaks in awe of the laxative, Polax. Hours later, after 2 sachets, I've pebble dashed the WC pan, and I'm still making a run for the bog at midnight. My mobile drip stand rattles over the ward floor, jams in the cubicle door, arm extended. I drop just in time. I study the indentations in the vinyl while my arse gasps like a stranded fish. I return across the darkened ward. The grunts, coughs, and farts sound as if I'm billeted on an active volcano. My drip stand, in supermarket trolley fashion, skitters around, so I'm forced to dance, bare feet, skipping clear of the spinning wheels. And so, I'd just like to read now. There's a big debate about immigration, and I don't want to get into that at all today, but all I know is that I was very well cared for by a nurse from Zambia. This poem is called Gutted. The title is a pun, of course. We're talking about a fish in the poem, and of course, I'd been gutted by the surgery. The poem is called Gutted. Telling me of her home, she says, gutted, in a soft Zambian voice, lips so close I can feel her breath. I forget that she is a nurse and I, her patient. The English fish, so called as a joke on the explorers who said they had discovered it, is best simply gutted and baked. Her touch lingers, but her eyes remember a freshwater lake near her village, where fishermen hang nets in the sun, and one who carries the memory of her skin as the glitter of fish scales on her fingers. We are moving towards our denouement. This is called My Funeral. I'm not so chipper now. Back here for the post-op 3-month checkup with the grey-haired men clutching their wives and papier-mâché urine bottles. The feedback from the GP's blood test is not good. Sister Vivienne, she was there at the beginning, she's here at the end. Sister Vivienne is putting a brave face on it. Only this morning, Robert De Niro was thanking the world for the success of his treatment. Bob's kept me company. Now he's out of the woods, and I'm in Suite 18, contemplating a PSA level that is too high and rides on trolleys down long corridors. I'm already planning my funeral. A pair of black stallions with plaited manes will pull me cray-like up Thorn Hill. The rattle of those big wheels will draw the crowds. Children will see their faces reflected in the lacquer of my casket. There'll be recordings of Bob cobbing and clips of De Niro saying, "You talking to me?" At the moment of cremation, a butterfly will appear from nowhere. The congregation will be stunned into silence. Someone will whisper, "His nightmare is over now." Everyone will hear and nod. Yes, it could have been me, but thank God it's him. 2 days later, the phone rings. Been a mistake. Samples mixed up. I sigh. Get onto the creme. Tell them to cancel the arrangements, or at least put them on hold. So that's my experience of prostate cancer in poetry. I'd like to conclude. I started with death, or the near proximity of it. I'd like to just read you one poem now from my new book. It's called The Undertaker's Invoice. And it's about the process of death. I thought we'd cheer us all up as we move forward through this wonderful. And well, I'd like to just thank the organizers. How brave and visionary to have poetry at a research event. I mean, it's extraordinary. So thank you very much for the invoice. And diolch ti am dod prynawn 'ma. This is called The Undertaker's Invoice. Clean the body, water and bleach, 4-to-1. Plug the orifices, cotton wool will do. The eyes need shutting, mouth too. Correct the sag in the bottom lip. Don't let sadness show. It's more than we need to know. Rouge the cheeks. This corpse will look as if he's just popped in from a brisk walk. Incise the carotid, drain the body, attach the formaldehyde pump. 3 liters should be enough. This is not a mummy off to the pyramids. Arrange the limbs, ease out rigor mortis, arms to the side. Dress, yes, even underwear. Place rings on fingers, snip facial hair. Now, my Father, you are ready to be kissed. I slip my invoice into your clenched fist. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.